Welcome to She Counts, the Real Talk podcast for women in accounting. We're your hosts, Nancy McClelland
and Mellisa Miller Furgeson, sitting in for Questian.
Every episode, we're digging into the real experiences, challenges, and unspoken truths of life in this profession.
Because if you've ever felt like you're the only one, you're not, and you shouldn't have to figure it out alone.
Special thanks to our Season 3 sponsors, Bill, Relay, and Carbon.
We're so grateful to them for helping us bring these conversations to life, enabling us to share out loud what everyone's thinking, but no one's saying. Learn more about them on the sponsors page at shecounts.show.
And if you want to support the podcast, the one thing that makes the biggest impact is to leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Reviews really do help others find us.
Remember, you can go to earmark.app to earn CPE credit, and please follow the She Counts podcast on LinkedIn to join the conversation.
Today's episode is the second of 3 that came out of the Theater of Public Speaking Curtain Call, the in-person advanced retreat where I got to visit and talk with the keynote speakers there. Mellisa has joined us on the podcast before, and she's been through the Theater of Public Speaking Intermediate program herself, and she knows both of the women you're going to hear from today very well. So I'm especially happy to have her in the studio for this conversation. Welcome back, Mellisa.
You definitely know me well enough to know that I am totally here for it. 2 great friends dropping wisdom on She Counts? Yes, please. Where do I sign up?
I had a funny feeling you'd be up for it. So, Mellisa, the 2 conversations I'm sharing with you today begin in different places, but they're both about something we don't always give ourselves permission to do, which is understand who we are and then make choices that honor that understanding. One starts with introversion. The other starts with a life that changed dramatically after 2 strokes. But both are really about learning to work with yourself instead of constantly pushing against yourself.
Which sounds simple, but I don't think it always is.
Yeah, I agree.
We can spend a lot of years, and I know you and I both have,
believing
there's a particular way we're supposed to show up, and judging ourselves when that way doesn't work for us.
Yep, we were just talking about that on a WhatsApp earlier today. Our first guest, Jean Zick, talks about understanding herself as an introvert and recognizing that the things that drain her aren't personal failures, which she totally read them as for years, which is kind of the opposite of what happened with me because I read my spazzy extroversion as a personal failure, like there's something wrong with me. But once Jean understood how she was wired, she realized that she could start being intentional about what she needed, building in breaks, finding smaller groups, connecting one-on-one, and recognizing that some of the qualities that she had struggled with were actually strengths.
Yeah, and knowing Jean, that totally fits. She's been working on this reframe for a while and helping others do the same.
Yeah, it's been inspiring to watch. And then Terri Warren takes that idea somewhere different after being laid off and then suffering not 1, but 2 strokes. Terri had to confront the fact that the way she'd always worked simply was not an option anymore. And eventually she realized that honoring who she is meant redefining what success looks like for her.
So Jean is really talking about understanding how you're wired, while Terri is confronting what happens when the person you are and what you need changes.
Exactly. Yes. And that is why I wanted to put these conversations together, because understanding yourself isn't terribly useful if you keep demanding that you operate like somebody else or like a version of yourself that doesn't exist anymore. So, yeah, let's start with Jean. Jean, thank you so much for being with us on the She Counts podcast. I'm so happy to have you here.
Nancy, I am so excited to be on the She Counts podcast.
Yay!
I've been hoping you would invite me.
Oh, well, see, it was just a matter of time.
Right.
And I knew that you were going to be at the Advanced Theater of Public Speaking retreat, but you did not know that I was going to be here. And
I did not. It was such a surprise this morning.
It was awesome.
It was awesome.
Jean and I have been friends for a long time. We hang out at accounting conferences together pretty much whenever we have the opportunity. And so I was really delighted when I realized I was going to have the opportunity to have you on the podcast. You are delivering a keynote that is pretty exciting, that is all about the millionaire introvert. Please tell me about it, Jean.
This is a realization I came about for myself and realized that I'm not alone. And that's where it comes from. And when I was young, I was sensitive to sounds. I was shy, I was timid, I would cry at the drop of anything. But growing up and going to conferences and being in big crowds, you'd realize like, oh, wow, like this is really overwhelming.
Yeah.
And I realized over time that, okay, this is something I have to figure out how to break this down.
Yeah.
And it was really, what I'm trying to do here, and part of my messaging is trying to teach people some techniques for breaking down these situations.
And specifically for introverts, breaking down these situations, or are these things that work for everyone?
I am aiming into introverts, but I don't think that it is exclusive to introverts.
Okay, great. And I can see you're wearing a really super cool, for those of you who can't see Jean right now who are listening, she is
wearing a blouse that is covered in $20 bills.
Yeah. I love it. And that looks like Audrey Hepburn at Breakfast from Tiffany's.
It's actually, so it's the Alice and Olivia brand. So
is it? Okay.
It's their character.
That's very cool.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah.
Very
so give us a few tips then, introverts
cool.
or otherwise. I think it's, people presume that women in accounting are introverts, but it's amazing how many of us are extroverts. I would like to learn more about what it looks like on the other side.
Okay. Wow. And as an introvert, sometimes it's hard to express what it's like on the other side. And on this side, the biggest, one of the key differences, extroverts really thrive on all that stimulation. You walk into a room, there's bright lights, there's people talking, there's all these things. And extroverts are like, bring it on.
Yeah.
And introverts are like, where can I go hide?
Because it's all about where your battery gets recharged, right?
It's about where that energy is. And I actually start my talk with being at a conference where I didn't know anybody and I was just completely drained of energy. And I don't want to give away the whole story, but I just realized after that something had to change.
Yeah.
And I was just starting my career as a CFO. I knew I'd be networking. I'd be going to places. I actually, at the time, had not too long before that gone back to work because I was home for a while when my kids were young. So I was going back into the business world and in these situations and realizing, wow, this is just really draining me of energy. I need to do something about it.
Yeah.
So from there, I just started thinking about what is it that will work for me. And that's sort of my first tip is identify that the situations are there. And
right, because if you don't know the reason that you're getting drained, if you don't know the reason you're feeling overwhelmed, if you don't know why you want to go hide, how are you going to do anything about it?
Right. So the first thing you need to do is identify and then accept it. I think the first thing is you're in these situations and you're feeling overwhelmed and you're thinking, what's wrong with me? And there's nothing wrong with you.
Yeah.
We're just wired differently. And accept that.
Yeah.
Is my piece. Accept that. And then start thinking about how you can use those situations to your advantage.
Do you want to know something funny? As an extreme extrovert, I always thought there was something wrong with me. We all feel that way, right?
Do.
We all feel isolated. We all feel alone.
We are all on one big spectrum.
Yeah.
And we're all in different places of it. And I think, exactly, we all need to just figure out where we're at and accept it and then what works for us. And you probably felt like, what's wrong with you? Because you're in the world of like, accountants are introverts, right?
Yeah.
We're known to be introverts. So this is great. And here's this major extrovert is like, hey, I'm here.
Crazy lady in
And people are like,
spaz girl.
what is wrong with you?
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with you. I love your energy. I love your excitement and your energy. And I'm glad it's there. And I think actually, when you're aware of those situations, then introverts and extroverts can really figure out how to play that off. Like one of my tips is if conferences are something that really bothers you, then have a wing person.
Yeah.
Like, who would be my best wing person? Nancy, right? She'll go up and talk to anybody if I don't feel that way. But
it's true, though. Yeah, as a matter of fact, Sharon Fuller and we decided, because we're both so extroverted, we call ourselves accounting conference socialites. We're doing a series of LinkedIn Lives where we tell people like which conferences we're going to and what we're packing and what events we're going to. And we're telling everybody, if you're uncomfortable at all, come find us. We will make sure that you meet other people. You do not have to be the wallflower because we can be that for you. Yeah, I love that you're saying that.
Yeah,
we just came up with this idea a couple weeks ago.
I'm loving that idea.
Yeah,
and that's so awesome. I'm bringing the conference coming up. This month, later this month is Scaling New Heights, and I've been bringing team members to it the past couple of years. So I'm bringing team members, and several of them it's their first conference. So I'm going to make sure.
Are they nervous?
I think, no, they'll be fine.
Okay.
I mean, they'll have each other, but I do want them to meet other people.
Yes.
I do want to make sure they're meeting other people. But as I brought people, the team members the past couple of years, one of the things is on day one, they have that first timers breakfast.
Yes. Yeah.
And I said,
the
go to the first timers breakfast.
Amazing. I went to it, my first Scaling New Heights. And I remember, I think it was maybe Kelly Gonsalves. There was somebody in the room who was, a volunteer. They have volunteers at each of the tables who've been many times, and they will, like, I don't want to say hold your hand, but like if you need your hand held, they'll hold your hand too.
And they'll check in with you.
Yeah, they'll throughout the conference. It's not just at the breakfast, right?
And
so you already know one person.
You know one person, one new person, and they'll introduce you to others.
Yes.
Yeah. So and I also encourage them to read the article you put out on MSN every year. So now I have another thing. It's like Nancy has a LinkedIn thing all about going to conferences.
Yeah.
So we'll start with that.
Awesome. Oh my God.
So I think as I said, the first thing is break it down and figure out. I think the second thing with conferences and those big events, and I'm, my type A side wants to go and do everything and fill up every time slot. I'm like, I paid all this money. I need to fill up every time slot.
Totally.
But I can't. And I will schedule it all out. And then by halfway through the second day, I'll be like, okay, I need to check out for a while. And time out. And build that time out into your schedule.
Totally.
That's
so intentional.
Build that time out into your schedule and make it intentional. In the early conferences, I felt like I was hiding when I do that. Now I know I'm using it to re-energize.
I love that because it's actually the same thing. You're just changing the perspective on it. It's just how you're looking at it. And you're reframing it.
I'm reframing it and I'm making it do it proactively.
Yeah.
I think one of the problems with introverts, we get into these situations, we get overstimulated. There's all this noise. There's all these people. It's just like this whole crowded. And then you're like, oh my gosh, your brain might start slowing you down. And you're like, what's going on with me? What's wrong with me? Again, nothing's wrong with you.
Mm-hmm.
It's your brain is purposely slowing you down. It's helping you cope. So that's your signal, and use that and know that. Make that time. So
I love that. You actually have to go through it and do the thing that you said about identifying in order to find the signal. And then when the signal happens again, you recognize it.
And build it in.
Yeah.
So build in those breaks to save your energy.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you won't be able to go to every session at every time, but frankly, you won't be able to absorb all the information anyway.
It's true. It's true. I'm an extreme extrovert, and I'm also trying to do all of the sessions.
Mm-hmm.
And even that's something that, whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, you can't do it all. And so I love the advice to schedule the downtime ahead of time because you're going to need it.
You're going to need it. Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I do. I know last year I got to a certain point at scaling and I said, I need to take a break for a while. And I went outside, I walked around, I got some water, I got a snack, just enough to kind of reset everything and then come back in and do more.
You talk about how introverts actually have superpowers. And I really, That resonated with me because I am married to an extreme introvert, and he and I have spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to live together in a way that's good for both of us. Um, because of my battery gets charged when I'm with people, but it actually discharges, like, and then when I'm away from people, I have low battery. And so, like, how do I get my battery back up when I'm alone? I have exactly the inverse situation that you and my husband do. And I loved it when you were saying, well, some of these things are actually a superpower that introverts can use. The great example with my husband, he is much more likely to have a quiet one-on-one or small group conversation. So we'll go to these accounting conferences, for example, or even just out with friends, right?
Mhm.
And he will have more to say at the end of the night to me about what he learned about people and what's going on in our friends' lives than I will, because I saw 50 people and had 2 seconds with each one. And he pulled the introvert superpower out of his pocket and spent quality time
Mhm.
asking
Mhm.
real questions
Mhm.
and going deeper. And I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that, how that has
Well,
worked for
it's
you.
we are empathetic listeners.
Yeah.
Introverts, we love, one of the things I love with going through TOPS, theater public speaking with Misty, and one of the things we learn about is the power of the pause. And we're very comfortable with that silence and that
Yeah.
pause and listening and taking things in. And that's great. He uses that time. He goes one on one. He is getting what he needs to get. If
Yeah.
he were going to talk to 50 different people, he'd be like, I'm done.
Totally. Yeah.
Totally toast,
He would
right?
tap
So
out.
totally tap out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so being in those conversations, and that was one of the things I found, especially in those big, I'm in like 2 big networking organizations. And I was in the room and I'm just like, oh my God, I don't know anybody, but these are good places to be. And so I joined a committee. So here I get to know like 8 or 10 people over
That
time
is a great tip.
versus the whole group.
That is a fantastic tip. So instead of trying to connect with everybody in the networking organization, the getting on a committee gave you what we were just talking about, that.
That small group.
Oh my gosh, that's such a
So
great
how do I
idea.
break it down? So with conferences as well, being part of TOPS,
Yeah.
being part of smaller groups, whether it's a meetup or maybe it's just a vendor that you've gotten to know a little bit better, going and hanging
That's a
out and
great
talking to the
point.
vendor,
Yeah.
anything, whatever works for you. What works for me might not work for the next person, but it's figuring out what works as a way to break it down
Yeah. That's
and
fantastic.
use that.
So
Yeah.
what would your advice be for women who are in accounting? They don't necessarily get the opportunity to go to these conferences, but they're dealing with this day to day in their work at maybe a CPA firm or a CAS firm or even running their own firm.
Oh, big question. I think it starts with networking. As I said, in the networking organization, look for the committee you can be part of. Look for, I say, support. Hopefully in the firm, it'd be great if in the firm, maybe there's support, maybe there's a
Mhm.
small group,
Or a mentorship
a mentorship
program.
program in the firm would be good. So I run a fully virtual firm. And one of the things we do, and I try to be intentional about building this, one of my goals with the culture is to make sure we're very collaborative, even though we're in like 12 or 13 different states right now. And I've got all these people. And one of the things we do is we use in Slack, there's an app called
Donut?
Donut.
Okay,
And
I don't know.
essentially every month it randomly sets us up with one other person for our donut meeting.
Oh,
Half
cool.
an hour,
So
totally
you're at
social
the
meeting.
water
We're at the water
cooler. Yeah,
cooler. It's a
okay.
little built in. It's the water
Love
cooler.
that.
Sit down for half an hour and talk about whatever. Goal is don't talk about work, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Actually, that's key. Goal
Right.
is don't
Don't
talk
talk about
about
work.
work. All
Yeah.
right.
And then you're getting to know that person better. And I love the donuts. I've always loved, even we've been virtual from the beginning, and I've always loved when I was one on one with someone, on Zoom. Great. I'd love to be in person even more, but on Zoom, one on one, having that conversation.
That's fantastic.
And
I
I think
love
that's
that.
starting with it.
You know what? We did a thing. We have a quarterly paid happy hour because we also run a virtual firm. And we send everybody like
Mm.
a cocktail kit or a mocktail kit and a snack pack. And we all get on a Zoom. And we try to do a different activity each time that we do this. And this time, just last week, I sent out decks of conversation starters that were all related to celebrations, like how people celebrate. What's your walk-on song, or what's a dream trip that you would take to celebrate something,
Oh,
or
fun.
just all sorts of things. And everybody had to pick 3 of them out, so that we didn't have any duplicates, and pick that one that was theirs, and answer the question for everybody, and then give everybody a takeaway. So, for example, if it was a dream trip that you took, maybe send a photo. If it was a song that you
neat.
always love, maybe
Neat.
send a link to that
Neat.
song or something
Yeah.
like that. It
Yeah.
was really, really fun,
Yeah.
and that's a great way to get introverts involved,
It
because
is.
once they know the other people on the team,
Right.
they can take it from there.
Right. And so we also have a monthly all-team meeting, which is mostly educational. And one of our more recent team members, she was actually a teacher before she joined our firm. She switched careers, and she was teaching during the pandemic. So she was dealing with students on Zoom. And she had suggested, we usually do an icebreaker question at the beginning of the meeting. She says, why don't we do that in breakout rooms as a way to warm people up?
Oh, that's a great idea.
It was genius.
Yeah.
So we do like maybe a 3 to 5 minute breakout room with an icebreaker question, like 3 people in the room, and it gets them talking with each other. So again, it's another opportunity to be social and get to know each other better.
Now, do you have any pushback on any of that? I think of a dear friend of mine, Tori McKee, is extremely introverted, but also very, very committed to collaborative community building. And we're actually going to be doing a panel together at Bridging the Gap called Connecting, Not Collecting, about networking in a way where you're not just collecting each other's business cards, and you're not just collecting people who can do things for you, but you're really connecting. But as an extreme introvert, and she's also very shy, the type of things that we're talking about here would terrify her. Do you get any pushback from people?
Everyone knows everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, within the firm, we're doing this.
Right.
And so everyone does know everybody.
Yeah.
And they're on, we're on a monthly team meeting. We've got the donut meetings to get to know each other. They also, without me, meet as a group. Basically the client service team meets as a group every other week. They do tech training, or they do just sort of check-in huddles. So there's always some sort of communication with them.
So it's more when somebody comes in that's new that
someone
it's a little bit more of a hurdle.
Yeah.
So what's the one thing that you would like to leave our listeners, women in accounting, with that that whether you're actually, I want to say, for people who are listening, whether they're the introvert who needs to hear your message, or the extrovert who needs to remember what the introverts out there are struggling with?
Wow. I think probably one of the first things, so as I mentioned earlier, that, introverts have great listening skills, right? Empathetic listeners. I would say to the extroverts in the room, remember your listening skills, and remember that sometimes you need to pause and just hear the other people around you.
Learn from the introverts.
And learn from the introverts. Introverts, you have a lot of mad superpowers, and start thinking what they are and start using them. And to be honest, I'm amazed. I'm amazed at where I'm at with, being incredibly sensitive and timid and shy in the beginning, and being out there, having to put myself out there in front of people. I will be speaking at Scaling New Heights this year.
I'm so excited.
My first time.
Yay,
I'm
congratulations.
I know a room of people, of all friendly people that
I'll be there.
I know. I might be at your time though.
Oh, we're not at the same time.
On the last day?
Last session on the last day?
Oh, second to last.
Oh, good.
Okay.
I'll be in the first half of yours then.
Okay.
And then after you're done, you can come over and hear mine.
I'll come to yours. Yeah. So I say that. I think just really to the introverts, if you're feeling that something is wrong with you, remember nothing is wrong with you.
Yeah.
And it's really just you're wired differently. Take a break and think about it and figure out what works for you, and then make that happen.
Thank you so much for being here today, Jean.
It
means so much to me. Give me a hug.
Of course.
Yay. Thank you. And
thank you so much.
Good luck, or break a leg. What am I supposed to say?
How we break a leg.
Break a leg. Okay,
Yeah,
break a leg on that keynote
says.
today. I know you're going to kill it.
Okay. Thank you.
Congrats. What I love about Jean's perspective is how practical it is. She's not trying to turn herself into somebody who loves walking into a giant room full of strangers. She figured out what those environments do to her, and then she started designing ways to navigate them that work for her engagement style. It's very Myers-Briggs. I wanna go back to her and ask if she's big into that personality inventory.
What got me was Jean's point about the strengths introverts bring with them.
Mhm.
Listening, going deeper, being comfortable with pauses, building those one-on-one relationships. Once you understand those things about yourself, you can start using them intentionally.
Yes, I totally agree, and even as the extreme extrovert in that conversation, I could recognize things that I can learn from her. I also really loved what she said about scheduling breaks at conferences. She used to feel like she was hiding when she stepped away, and now she understands that she's intentionally giving herself what she needs to recharge. And so the behavior itself didn't necessarily change, but her understanding of it and like her permission and her framing of it for herself, that totally did.
Right. And once you understand why you need something, you can stop judging yourself for needing it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That totally sits so true and real for me. And I think actually that that's where Jean's conversation starts to connect so beautifully with Terry's. Now, Terry is a dear friend of mine, and I know yours too. And her story is obviously very different. She has had to learn what her mind and body need after two strokes changed, like literally changed what she's capable of doing in a given day. But for me, and I hope for our listeners, what makes her story so powerful is that understanding herself meant accepting that she couldn't keep measuring herself against the person she used to be.
And knowing Terry, I think that's especially insightful.
Yeah.
She's someone with an incredible drive and work ethic. And accepting that the way she works might have to change doesn't mean that the person underneath all of that has disappeared.
Yes, totally. And Terry has this beautiful visual metaphor for exactly that, which you'll hear us talk about. Her cape of confidence is what she calls it. The first version represented the success she'd built for herself. And then after her strokes, she felt like that cape had just been ripped away from her and she had to earn it back. And eventually, she realized she didn't need to become the old Terry again. She needed a cape that fit the Terry she is now. But as you said, the person underneath all of that hadn't yet disappeared. So she comes up with a really beautiful and powerful representation of it. Are you ready?
I can't wait.
Terri, I am so excited to have you here on She Counts. Terri Warren is a dear, dear friend of mine who we were in, I think, one of the intermediate theater public speakings that I took was with you. And is that where we met each other originally? I don't remember. I feel like I've known you forever.
No, we were in Real Life together.
Oh, that's right. It was because we were in Real Life.
Yes.
That's how Katie Healy and I met also.
Yes.
I also interviewed her on this series and we realized that that was where we met each other. That's right.
Yes.
Well, Terri Warren, one of my favorite people. I love her so much. And I'm going to say something in particular that's a little bit hard to share, but is very, very true. Terri has had a couple of strokes over the past few years, and I am one of the people that she has reached out to because I believe we were paired as accountability partners in theater public speaking when you had your first
Right.
stroke. And it really meant a lot to me that I was one of the people that you sort of let in when that was going on. And then when we were at Women Who Count Together, you and your husband had reached out to Mark and me as being like kind of people who could sort of keep an eye on you and make sure that everything was going okay. And as somebody myself who has challenging mobility issues, and it's really, really hard to travel without Mark, and he is not here with me on this trip,
I know.
I feel like I'm sharing some of that vulnerability back with you. And I know this is a big part of the story that you're going to share with us. And so I just wanted to make sure I shared that with you ahead of time, how special it feels to be one of those people in your life who got, quote unquote, let in.
Yes, you're not just let in. You are in the house. You're sitting on my couch and you are just here, just soaking up everything. So you are part of me, just so you know.
Oh, Terri, that means so much to me.
Yeah.
It means so much to me. So the keynote that you're giving here at Theater of Public Speaking is about how success means different things to different people, how we go through different phases of our lives when we redefine success. And for those of you who are watching this on YouTube as opposed to just listening to this, she's brought a very beautiful prop with her to illustrate some of these concepts that she's going to share with us. So Terri, tell our audience, please share a little bit of your story.
So basically, it just started with in this concept of this speech really was birthed from when I left the corporate type of world of public accounting, and I was laid off, and it totally shattered everything that I knew about myself.
Really?
It challenged my value. It challenged who I was, my identity of where I said everything, because I built myself up to define success in a certain way. And so that's the way that I always worked. And then all from prior to that, I was always working a certain way. So drive, 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 push, 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 work, work, work. That was what the success was supposed to be. And then that would pay off.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I started to do as soon as I was laid off. After I picked myself
Drive,
back
drive,
up.
drive, work, work, work.
Work, work, work. Yes.
So here you are. You're completely devastated because you had this job that you loved. You were doing work that was meaningful to you. You thought, if I act a particular way,
Yes.
this definition of success is going to show up. And instead, you get laid off. So you're devastated,
Mm-hmm.
but then you go back to the same pattern.
Yes, I did. It was ingrained in me. That was, growing up is what you do. You just work. You work hard, you work long, and you work until you see that success.
Mm-hmm.
But the success for me was always within someone else's built walls. And so I had to build my own walls. I had to build up what it meant for me. And so I did that. I did that with the help of a community like you, like Realize, like all the friends and all the people that I actually just pulled together, and they helped me to put on my cape of confidence.
Your cape of confidence. Is that what
Yes.
this beautiful thing is that you've got right here?
Yes. So this is my cape of confidence. So it's bright pink and very shiny.
It's got lots of sparkles on it. Now I am.
Yes.
Oh, wow. It's not just got sparkles on it. You've got all these things hanging out, little crystals and pom-poms hanging off the bottom.
Yes.
Okay, this thing is gorgeous, y'all.
I have to tell you, my daughter, Sydney, she made this.
She made it?
She made it.
Oh, I'm taking a picture of you while we're recording the
Yes.
podcast. This is fantastic. Aw.
Yes, she did. And she is amazing at this. And yeah, I mean, I could go on and on and on about how fantastic she is at this kind of stuff. But so in my speech, my cape of confidence
Mm-hmm.
is what helped me continue to drive and continue to do things because it was paying off
Mm-hmm.
until I had my first stroke. And I spent 12 months in all kinds of different rehab and everything else, building myself back to earn this again.
Wow. So you felt like you didn't.
It got ripped off. That's what
Really?
it felt like.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Where did the concept of the cape of confidence come from in the first place? I mean, did you have this before you even started that first gig that you got laid off from, or like, no? All right, this
No.
was something.
This was built for this speech.
Uh-huh.
And so the concept of it was just when I was asked to just define my story
Uh-huh.
and write it out, that's just what came out.
Got it.
It made sense.
Yeah.
it fit.
So this analogy of the cape of
Mhm.
confidence of having to earn it back
Yes.
came out of that.
It-
Oh my gosh, that's
yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
And so what happened? Here you are devastated a second time, right? Like,
Yes.
so the layoff happens the first time around. You work, you've built it back up. But this time when you're building it back up, it's your own definition of success, right? It's
It
not
is.
somebody else's definition.
Exactly. Yes.
And then you get that ripped away from you.
I do. Yeah. I build it back. I build it better. I gain that momentum once again. And then I have another stroke.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it just was such a wake up call. This
The
particular
second
one,
stroke?
yeah, the second one was like telling me to sit my butt down.
I love
We-
it. I love the way you talk. I love that you can talk about a stroke that way.
Yeah.
So they were a year apart,
Yeah, about a year and a half apart.
about a year and a half
Mhm.
apart.
Yeah.
And so you've got your own definition of success. You work. You build it up.
Yeah.
So you're wearing this cape of confidence. It gets ripped off. You have to earn it back.
Yes.
And that takes a year. There's like a year and a half where you're doing this. And then you have that second stroke.
Mhm.
How did you even get back up after that? You spent all this time earning back your cape of confidence.
Mhm.
What do you even do with that?
I really battled with myself
Yeah.
for about 4 months. And I had to figure out if the old way was going to work still.
The work ethic.
The work. The whole scoreboard that I used to have for myself, the model of work that I used to do and used to have, whether or not that was going to continue to work. So that's what I tried to do for 4 months. And I did it 10 times harder. I'm like, I'm going to push through. I'm stubborn as hell. So I was.
You are stubborn as hell.
Yes, I am. And I was going to prove to the universe that this was not going to be my story. This was going to not define me. I'm going to do it my way because I said so.
So weren't you worried, though, that you were just going to have a third stroke?
Oh, every single moment of my day. Even when I was sleeping, I would wake up in the middle of the night and shake my hands, shake my feet, just go like this with my head and just figure out, make sure that things were working
Wow.
like they were supposed
Like
to.
check in on yourself.
Yep. Just,
Oof.
yeah. If I would wake up, I would think, okay, what woke me up? Do, just check
Right.
when I'm still intact.
I had to
Yeah.
awaken in the middle of the night thinking that I was having a stroke because my entire right arm had fallen asleep. And it turns out I had a really bad pillow. Once I
Well, that's what
replaced
I
the pillow,
thought.
it was fine. That's what you thought when you had the stroke?
The first one.
Really?
Yes, absolutely. Because I woke up at 6:30 in the morning, and that's the normal time I wake up. So I really didn't think much about it. I was a little groggy. It was just normal too. But my arm wasn't working. And that was the arm I was laying on. So I just really thought it fallen asleep.
Oh, my goodness.
And I didn't notice it wasn't working, honestly, until I went in the bathroom, tried to turn the light on, and my arm was not obeying.
Wow.
So yeah,
Oh
that was
my
a big
gosh.
that was a big thing. Yeah. And then my voice went and I couldn't talk. And then Hubster Brooke
Yeah.
just said, we're leaving. So
Yeah,
no, and the whole way of him trying to get me to the hospital, I'm making excuse after excuse after excuse of why I should be going. No, let's just go to urgent care. Let's just wait for the doctor. Let's wait for this. Let's wait
Why
for
were
that.
you doing that? You're not sure.
I'm stubborn.
You are stubborn.
And my brain was not functioning
Right.
at that
Right.
moment.
Your
I was
executive.
not in a decision mode type of moment. So he took over and passed off our pup because I wanted to take the dog out, and he just made sure I got to where I had to go.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
All right. So the second one happens,
Mhm.
and here's where I'm a little confused.
Okay.
So you said on the one hand, it's telling you got to sit your butt down. And on the other hand, you're trying to build back 10 times harder because you're stubborn and you're trying to prove to the universe that this is not going to define you.
Yes.
All right. So which is the part where you're sitting your butt down if you're working 10 times harder?
Because working 10 times harder and doing things the way that I used to do them I hit a brick wall.
Oh.
I worked, and it was December, and I had realized I was not necessarily in over my head, because old me could have done this with
Uh-huh.
their eyes closed, but new me, this new brain, these new deficits that are there, they're slight, but they're there. And my energy is just drained. And just being able to identify that, I was not willing to accept that.
Mhm.
So my whole speech in the initial part of it is acceptance, getting to acceptance, so that you can then move to that next part and realize what is in your way.
Mhm.
I was in the way.
Wow. Your stubbornness?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Change starts with you. That's what I always say. So is what happened. So then after that, um I had to figure out then what my new goals were. What did reality look like for me? What was going to work and what wasn't?
Mhm.
So basically, I had to create a new scoreboard for me, a
What did
new
the new
definition.
scoreboard look like compared to the old scoreboard?
I don't need layers, layers and layers of work and clients to be successful.
Okay.
I can use my talents and the things that I used to do in my sleep and train others to do that,
Uh-huh.
and to coach others on how to remove that chaos within their firms and
Uh-huh.
realign their teams.
Which you're amazing at. Absolutely. As a matter of fact, one of the sponsors of our podcast this season is Carbon. I don't know if you're aware of that. Yeah. So I know you're like probably the most enthusiastic Carbon. You're not just a Carbon user, you're a power user and trainer
Yes.
and
Carbon is my
consultant.
superpower.
Carbon is your superpower. So you're teaching other people how to do this stuff because
Mhm.
that's a way you can leverage the impact
Yes.
that you can make, but not have it go beyond the limits of your energy right now.
Yes, exactly. Being able to give that space to myself that I can identify and still step back in my day and give myself the care that I need. And
Uh-huh.
even if it's just stopping, just putting the computer away and just stopping for the rest of the day.
Uh-huh.
If that's what my body is telling me, and that's what I've begun to do, is be able to realize that a lot more and a lot faster than
Mhm.
I used to do.
And you're no longer seeing that as a weakness.
Right.
You're defining that. This is like the
A strength.
fourth time in your life then where you're redefining what success means.
Fourth time in the last 2 years.
Fourth time in the last year. Ugh,
Yes.
my goodness.
So, yeah. Yeah. It's always been a question, but I've always been able to manage.
Mhm.
It's always had events. We all have this.
Yeah.
Where we have to check in with ourselves and realize that some of the change that we've been experiencing, like AI right now,
Yeah.
it is such a big thing and it creates such anxiety. You know, we lose 12 billion workdays in 1 year to depression and anxiety, and AI is causing that to be even higher.
Wow.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm not surprised, but I did not know that.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So that was where I was headed.
Yeah.
And I was able to recognize that just a little bit faster. And when you wake up in the morning and you realize that you don't want to go to work,
Yeah.
that's telling you something.
Yeah.
So that was telling me
Especially
something.
given how much you love your job.
I do. I absolutely love my job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably more than anybody I know. I mean, I know a lot of people who we all love our jobs.
Yeah. Oh, no,
But
I
you are way up there.
I do.
So show me the reverse side of this because I
Yes.
know there's another part of the story that our audience needs to hear.
Yes. So as I got to that space, when I hit that brick wall and I had to redefine everything of what success would look like for me, what my sense when I walked into a room, what that confidence looked like
Mm-hmm.
and what that cape looked like. And it was different. So my lovely daughter created a cape that still has me in it, I'm still stubborn. I'm still me. I'm still valuable.
So the side of the cape that
But
is
now,
pink with the
I just wear a
sparkles.
different colored cape.
I love it. So
Yeah.
this is for our audience who's not watching and can't see this beautiful, beautiful cape. Okay, so the one side, the cape she used to wear, is bright pink with silver sparkles. Then there's a layer on the inside, and on the I don't want to say back side of the cape because this is a fully reversible cape. This is the side of the cape that it's darker, it's more mature. It's still got sparkles. The sparkles are smaller and they're really they're diffusely distributed across the fabric, the floral fabric with some greens and blues and
Purples.
purples and all of these absolutely gorgeous flowers. So you're still wearing a cape.
I am.
So this is the way that and that cape has your quote unquote old self
Yes.
and your new self as
Yes.
parts of the cape. And this is what helps you visualize this
Yes.
transition that you've made.
It does. It does. Because after my strokes, I just thought, I've lost me.
You were worried that you were gone and you were never going to come back.
Right. I felt like for a while I was faking it.
Really?
I did. But I wasn't. I just had to redefine what it looked like for success for me so that that piece of me could come back out again
Yeah.
and flourish and not just be frustrated and pushing all the time.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. That resonates so deeply with me because of, my own medical struggles in
Yeah.
2017, 2018. I was worried I would never be able to dance again, and there's still a lot that I can't do, but it doesn't mean that I don't know. Sometimes I felt like she was inside me struggling
Yes.
to get out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Feels like a bowling pot sometimes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I'm so glad for this analogy of the cape. This is really helpful because I know most women wear capes. There's the I don't know if you've seen the image of how when you use the women's restroom, it's like
Yes.
wearing an A-line skirt and
It looks like a cape.
yeah.
Yes.
There's a thing out there that says it was never a dress. It's actually a woman wearing a cape. I love this idea of the analogy of a double-sided cape. And so you put on the side of the cape that is your definition of today's
Exactly.
success for you.
Right.
I
I'm being
recently
fair
got
to
back
myself.
from Wave Seattle and
Mhm.
Aaron Pohan's conference there. And it was all about defining our own success and not using somebody else's definition of success. And I feel like you've taken that to the next level with this analogy.
Yeah. Yeah. It was great. I learned that you can continue to try and do things the way you always did, but it's not fair to you and to the person that you've become to continue to try and do the things that aren't working anymore.
That is such an amazing quote. That is absolutely beautiful.
Thank you. I'm not Nicole Davis throwing out, quotes left and right, just like gems, but I get one or two in every now
Oh
and
my
then.
gosh, Nicole is going to be so happy. I'm putting her in the show notes right now. She is going to be so happy. As a matter of fact, that's kind of funny because Nicole was one of our keynote speakers at Wave Seattle that I was just talking about when she was talking about defining success. So that's perfect. Yeah, no, that the fact that in my opinion, it was an extremely short amount of time for you to get all the way from layoff to first stroke to second stroke to this concept of self-acceptance and self-respect and redefining your success in a way that honors who you are now,
Yes,
as opposed to feeling like your old self is lost.
exactly.
That's just so beautiful.
Yes. Thank you.
Well, I'm thrilled that this ended up being the topic that you chose for your theater public speaking keynote. It's something that I know all of our listeners, women in accounting, can take away with them. If there's one last thing you'd like to share with the audience before we wrap up.
Be graceful with yourself. And I use this acronym, it's called GROW. There's a whole model out there about it. It's goal, reality, options, and will. And if you examine those things for yourself, you'll examine your judgment and other people's judgment of you as you go through change. And you'll examine your capacity and you'll examine your options. And you have to do those things. If you wait too long, you'll hit that brick wall. And if you can identify with each one of those acronyms, you already are hitting that brick wall. So don't wait. Find your new cape.
I love it. Thank you so much for being here with us on She Counts, Terri. It has just been such an honor and joy to have you here.
Oh, I am just so excited. I finally get to be on here, and I love you so much.
Thank you for being one of our most enthusiastic listeners, as well as a dear friend to us. Thanks, Terri.
I love you.
Oh my gosh, that got me so emotional.
Yeah, me too. There's a line Terri said that I keep thinking about. It's not fair to the person you've become to continue trying to do the things that aren't working anymore.
Yeah, that got me too, because she isn't saying she cares less about her work or that she has to stop doing meaningful things. She's recognizing that what she asks of herself has to fit the person she is now.
Yeah, which is where these two conversations, I mean, again, they just really come together for me because, Jean, she was measuring herself against the way she thought she was supposed to function in a room full of people. Like she was thinking, in order to do what I have to do, I have to become someone else, right? And so she learned to stop measuring it that way. Whereas Terri had to stop measuring herself against the way she used to function before her strokes.
Right. And in both cases, understanding themselves gave them more choices.
Yeah.
Jean can decide how she wants to navigate a conference or a room full of people. And Terri can decide what success looks like within the capacity she has today.
And neither of them is asking us to lower our expectations for ourselves. I mean, that is something, with all of the work I've done with cognitive behavioral therapy, I used to think it was just blowing sunshine up our rear ends, but it's not. We're not lowering our expectations for ourselves. They're asking us to make better choices because we understand ourselves better.
Mm-hmm. And for Jean, that can mean finding a wing person, joining a smaller group, or taking a break before she's completely drained.
Mm-hmm.
And for Terri, it can mean putting the computer away when her body tells her she's done, or using the expertise she already has to teach and coach others instead of carrying the same workload she once did.
And what works for you can change, right? Like that's one of the things she's teaching us. What you needed 10 years ago or even 2 years ago doesn't have to be what you need now. That's the piece that I really want to leave people with. Understanding yourself gives you the ability to build a life and a career that works with who you are. And when you change, you get to revisit that understanding, right? Like you don't owe the world a version of yourself that doesn't fit anymore.
Yeah. I mean, whether that's because you finally understood something about yourself that was always there,
or because life has changed you into someone new. Mellisa, thank you so much for joining us today for the second episode in this super special series recorded at the Topps Curtain Call. I really appreciate your stepping in and sharing this one with me. It totally feels like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
I'm so glad to do it. Jean and Terri are amazing women, and I'm so glad to be a part of sharing their stories with the world.
We will be back with our final 2 conversations from Curtain Call in the next episode.
As we wrap up, we'd like to ask listeners to follow our She Counts podcast LinkedIn page and join in on the conversation by sharing under the episode, Understanding Yourself, Honoring How You're Wired and Who You've Become. What are you still asking of yourself that no longer fits who you are?
And before we sign off, we want to leave you with a quote by Alice Walker. The most common way people give up their power is by thinking they don't have any.
Thanks for being here with us on She Counts, the Real Talk podcast for women in accounting.
If something in today's episode hit home for you, well, that's exactly why we're doing this.
So you feel seen, heard, and never alone.
Remember that you can get CPE credit for listening at earmark.app. Links to that, as well as how to learn more about our sponsors' solutions and any other resources, and there are lots of them, will be in the show notes.
And please subscribe and leave a review because it helps other people find the podcast. Also, please share with another woman in accounting who needs to hear it too.
And we'll see everyone in 2 weeks.